Hi, it's Maria Luz. I'm an astrologer, certified hypnotist, and psychic medium, and I am here for the Astro Energy Report for July 12th. On Friday morning, Venus, just entering Leo, makes an opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. And then in the afternoon, the moon will join the south node at 9 degrees Libra. And this means that the moon will be in opposition to the north node because the nodes of the moon are calculated points. They're always at 180 degrees apart from each other. So the north node is in Aries. And although the moon meets up with the nodes in this configuration on a monthly basis as it moves through its cycle, I'm highlighting this one because this conjunction occurs less than 1 degree away from where there will be a solar eclipse or a new moon in Libra on October 2nd. And so when something like that happens, usually there is a deeper message for us to dive into. And so I found that here. And then there's another event that's related to this theme that I'll talk about, and that occurs on Monday evening. And you may have heard about this because I don't know, I guess it's been a little catastrophized maybe in uh, in the media. But there is a Mars and Uranus conjunction happening in Taurus. And historically, things happen when Mars is in a conjunction with Uranus. And it doesn't mean it will, but there have been things in history, especially in the U.S. So anyway, that plays into this theme I'll talk about. Now, Venus, who I mentioned as I led in, is the ruler of Taurus, where that Mars Uranus conjunction is, and also Libra, where the moon and the south node conjunction is happening. And, Pluto, remember, is camped out at the very beginning of Aquarius. And so each time a planet enters a new sign, it makes some kind of aspect with Pluto. And that's what happened when Venus just entered Leo. They're both fixed energy signs, and Venus made this opposition to Pluto. And so Pluto is also in Aquarius, which is associated with Uranus. Again, Uranus making that conjunction Monday evening with Mars. So breaking it down, because again, I seem to throw a lot of planets and signs all together. I can't seem to help myself. So I'll break it down now. So there's the Aries Libra nodal axis. Um, for, the nodes of the moon. And they've been there for more than a year now, I believe. And again, this nodal axis is ruled by Mars and Venus because Mars rules Aries and Venus rules Libra. So already we can see, those two have come up in the events that I've walked us through so far. And so this nodal axis, it places an emphasis on self, which is really that Aries piece, and relationships, which is the Venus piece. And we've really been pushed to examine where we've essentially abandoned ourselves in order to prioritize relationships, or maybe even worse, we didn't come up with our individual priorities. So we just went along with the relationship's trajectory. And then to continue breaking it down, Venus was just in this more of like a stay at home kind of let's nurture ourselves sign of Cancer for the last few weeks. And then coming into Leo and into that face off with Pluto, this is a Venus now who might be ready for some self sovereignty being in Leo, and having just experienced this face off with with Pluto, which is a very powerful energy. So again, Venus is maybe hinting at that change in us, or at least something to look at. And then Mars can definitely push us to be assertive and unpredictably so when joined with Uranus, which is happening. And again, just to remind everybody that even though the conjunctions are exact on, a given time on a certain day, we feel that energy, especially for some of these maybe more significant energy clashes or combinations, I guess I should say. So we may have been experiencing some of this already, either collectively or individually, depending on where, Taurus falls in your chart. Um, but, maybe this moon and the south node meeting up a little bit before in Libra is cautioning us. And so I looked up the Sabian symbol as I like to do, and excuse me, just still getting over COVID. But the Sabian symbol emphasizes it, and it is a canoe approaching safety through dangerous waters, the reward of all sincere and daring outreaching of self in life, assured destiny, reliance upon skill and circumstances. So you can see how just in that brief Sabian symbol description, it brings up, destiny is associated with the nodes of the moon, and then other reaching of self is looking at that nodal axis as well. So perhaps if you have somehow managed not to have relationship woes, and when I say relationship, it's not just romantic, but it's those significant relationships that are part of your day to day. So, friendships, your family, coworkers, in addition to your partner. But if you've managed to avoid those struggles over the last year, like maybe they've started to recently kind of simmer, um, or maybe you yourself are finally at the point where you're fed up enough to take action. That's, that Mars piece. And just remember, it's not taking action selfishly, although there's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself. But it might be for that other person. It might be for their evolution, something they need to understand about themselves in relationship. And when we hold on too long, as Pluto is known to do, it does harm, both parties because being stuck isn't good for, either person. And I'm not saying like go blow up all your relationships because they're imperfect. I mean, that's just being human. But I think the astrology is asking us to see, are we being true to ourselves, and also to really trust our intuition in relationships. And that the moon, can represent our intuition, and maybe that brief highlight sitting there where the solar eclipse is going to be near exactly. We all know how powerful those eclipses are. So it might be this foreshadowing for us to do. And that is it. If you find this video helpful, please share it. And if you're interested in having an astrology reading with me, I would love to meet you. You can use the code AstroHip for 20% off on my website, which is marialuz.online. Or if you're hurting for money, which I get, just email me and we'll work something out. And that's info@marialuz.online. And I will put my links in the notes. And thank you so much for spending time with me. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.